I love you. I was struggling with my spirit fingers there. Welcome back, everybody. Hello. I'm cutting the song. We're going back to cold opens. I was feeling stale with it, so here we are. I'm just happy to have you back.
Whole new face.
It's nicer. It's nicer instead of like trying to sing something when I know I can't sing that well. It's nicer to just have those cold opens where I say, "Welcome back to the couch potatoes."
Welcome back.
But now I'm second guessing the couch potatoes because there's double couch in there. So maybe it's just welcome back to the couch potatoes. Fuck it. I'm the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
I don't know. That might break my mind, which is fragile, as we all know. I am the Faceless Leon. I don't have a face.
Don't put you near a fire.
Don't put me near a fire. Yeah.
Do you harden? Are you like Clay? Like, will you if
it doesn't necessarily like cure like clay. It's actually a little more like melty, like a plastic.
Oh.
Yeah.
So do you freeze then like ice, or is does colder days make you more brittle?
Yeah, but it's got to be really fucking cold. That's
fair.
I got a really low freezing point and a really low melting point as well.
And that's a Fahrenheit look at it too. We don't even know Celsius shit.
Actually, I was talking about Kelvin. So. Oh
fuck! I've been stuck in America too long. I don't even remember other degrees and terminologies. It's just Fahrenheit. We do everything about Fahrenheit.
It's just Fahrenheit.
We're actually here today. The very first Patreon pick of the year. We're so very happy. Potato Pig. Welcome back to the new year. A new year of Green and Faceless on the couch. Hello.
A podcast about movies and TV.
Yes, indeed.
I usually say that. I'm a little thrown with the cold open, I guess. I guess I've been using that time to collect myself.
And to memorize your line.
And to memorize all my lines, yes. Yeah, because this is scripted, as you can tell.
Yeah, we're clearly always on point. We get all of our facts out there as how we want it to.
Yeah, just how we wanted to. We don't forget about anything or anybody.
Nope.
And you're definitely going to hear my dog in the background. Say hi to Garlic, everybody.
Yeah, it's all right. My dog's whining in the background, so it's totally okay.
It's a puppy-filled episode, and we're here to talk about... We're doing a new segment. We've never done this segment before.
Right.
This is old versus new.
Yeah, it's very similar to a sequel smash.
Yes, very similar to a sequel smash, but we do remakes instead.
Yeah, it was submitted by our lovely patrons, Mike Hamilton and Don Callahan. So thank you very much. We always appreciate your lovely ideas.
We sure do. So, here we are. We're talking about the Thomas Crowne Affair. So, new segment, 2 films that came out 68 and then in, 99? Is that right? Or 90?
Yeah, 1999. And honestly, I had never heard of this movie. I'm sure I've heard of it or seen it. I know I've definitely seen it because the 1999 film is directed by John McTiernan, the director of Die Hard. And so I know I have looked at his filmography before because, I like Die Hard and I like Hunt for Red October, which he also directed. And so I know I've definitely seen the name Thomas Crowne Affair. Never thought to watch it. And so that's one of the nice things about the Potato Pick is there's going to be movies that are going to win that I never would have thought to have watched before, and this is one of them.
Definitely.
Yeah, do we want to dive into what the Thomas Crowne Affair is in general, and then talk about the 68 film, and then talk about the 1999 film?
I think we should talk about the 1999 film, then talk about what it means in general, and then talk about the 1968 film.
So just fuck the whole strategy.
I think that's a good way to go about it. That's a good way to go about it.
Yeah. In general, it is about a bored billionaire who decides to steal. In one movie, it is money, and in another movie, it's a painting. But yeah, a bored billionaire decides to steal, and in the process of doing so, he plans this great heist, pulls it off, And then a lady comes in to investigate, and they fall in love. You know, she kind of knows immediately who the individual behind the heist is, and he knows up front that she's coming after him. And in this weird cat and mouse chase, they just fall in love. And it's a whole kind of look at, you know, do you do your job, or do you just, you know, go with happiness?
Yeah, so I think I would call this film a situational romance.
Yeah, and you know me, I'm a lover of romance. I actually really enjoy a lot of older romantic films, but more of like the Audrey Hepburn style stuff. And she has one that's kind of similar. I mean, it's not really at all, but it's called How to Steal a Million, or something like that. But yeah, I do typically love the older romantic films, like specifically the 60s era. So, you know, seeing a romantic, I mean, it's not called a heist, but I mean, it is technically a romantic heist film.
It's a heist movie, I would say, but like the heist is in the first part of it.
Yeah, I think the Wikipedia that I read classified as like a neo-noir romance, and I was like, guess,
sure,
I guess. I don't know if I would classify it as neo-noir, really.
I didn't take a class on film genres, so I'm just here. I'm completely amateur. I recognize that.
Well, I mean, also I didn't pay attention in my film classes, so like, let's be honest. I'm not like a good critic in that. Like, I don't know specifically what a noir is, but I guess it could be in regards to how it is stylized. There is some in the '68 film. There are some style choices that are kind of noirish, but I don't know. It's more of a romantic heist to me. Yeah.
I mean, I've watched a few noirs, and I think you get what the point is, but I don't know about neo-noir. I don't know enough. I'm just a layman with a microphone.
And that's just fine.
But you know what I feel like I am competent in talking about is like story. At least I did take classes on that, so...
And I like the story of both of these films. The 68 one, Steve McQueen is the bored billionaire, and Faye Dunaway is the lady investigator. I think she is a detective in that one, right?
She is. There, both instances, she works for the insurance company. And in this one, it's for the bank. And I kind of was under the impression that Thomas Crowne was associated with that bank in some big way.
I think so. Like, I feel like he was either had a lot of his own money stored there.
Yeah.
Or was like a member of the board or something like that. I can't remember, but I do remember there being a connection with him in the bank.
So in this movie, I got the sense of the boredom, because it's like, oh, I can do this to my own company and I think I can get away with it and it sounds fun, so I'm going to do it. Like, I can understand that mentality, but it still pissed me off because I don't have that much money. And, you know, not that I even want to. I'm going to move my microphone. My pop filter wasn't really covering up the microphone, so I might have some poppy.
Oh, I don't even have a pop filter. All my P's are like pop, pop, and all the pit, pop. It's bad.
Yeah. Then I gotta scrub them out.
I appreciate it. Mine are just nasty.
No, it doesn't sound that bad. After I do a few little doodad things, it sounds great. This movie sounds good too. Even Steve McQueen's laughs. I don't think they sound human, but they sound good.
Ouch. That's searing. I love it. Oh my god. Oh man. He definitely.
It was so exaggerated. His laughter. That's the only part that I was like, okay, Steve.
Right. I've only ever seen him in an action film. Like, I've seen his action stuff. I say action film as if I've only seen one Steve McQueen movie. I've seen probably 3 or 4, I would say. And in all 3 or 4 of those, he was an action star. So seeing him in a romance kind of role was weird. But he does have charm. That's the thing. It's like he can be charismatic.
And he is very attractive.
Yeah, he definitely is. And I love the chemistry he has with Faye Dunaway. I think they pull off some really good scenes. There's one that is just a staring contest while they're playing chess that goes on for a very long time. And it was very weird for me.
That was definitely... both of these movies have almost this weird dream sex thing go on.
Yeah.
And it definitely starts with chess for these two.
And, like, you get the feeling that they do fall for each other, but the romance in both films, for me, it doesn't really actually seem real. Mm-hmm. You know, it just kind of feels like they're just kind of... They're both so focused on their lives, their work, that, like, just the fact that they found somebody who matches their wit and their like mental games that they like to play. That's what the draw was for both of them. It was kind of like Sherlock finding Moriarty, but Moriarty's not trying to kill him. You know, he's just like, hey, let's have sex, and you know, try to. Irene does work, but in regards to the story, she's only in one story, and Moriarty's only in one story too. But he's talked about a lot more than Irene is.
Sure, and also, like, I guess Vicky really does keep Thomas on his toes. I don't know. By the end, I don't know that I feel that way necessarily because, well, it's kind of spoilers, but it's an old movie, but gets away with it at the end. So, like, it's kind of set up like that she was too distracted to catch it all, even though she caught most of it. Like, he was still like a couple steps ahead.
A step ahead or so.
Yeah,
and I enjoyed that, honestly, with both films because I liked it more in the 99 version, which we'll talk about soon. But at the 68 version, I did like that kind of, he was giving it up feel. Where like at the end, he was kind of just like, all right, I'm flying away. You can meet me, I guess, if you want to, but like they're not together at the end of that one. Sorry to spoil the ending for the 68 one. But like I like that. I liked
be a little bit more. It cuts off right there.
And I'm okay with that. I think that's a good spot for a romance where it's like you can finish it for you if you want in your own head. But for the story they just told, it's a nice, not the greatest ending they could have had, but it's a nice ending.
It's a Casablanca moment.
Yeah.
But a lot quicker, I imagine. I've never actually seen Casablanca.
What?
I know, we'll watch it, okay? We'll watch it, everybody.
Oh my God.
Okay, Couch Potatoes, we'll watch it.
There's a 2022 episode for you somewhere down the line. That's a good one. It's a real good one. The Thomas Crowne Affair is nowhere near Casablanca levels, I will say.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that without even watching the other movie.
Because you hear about Casablanca.
Yeah, you hear about Casablanca. So I think the story is interesting, but I have trouble relating to Thomas Crowne because I don't have, enough money to just throw my life away on super stupid stunty things.
Right. I mean, even with that aside, too, his personality for us isn't relatable because he's very stoic and withdrawn. And I mean, like, in our personal lives, we are both very, have our own withdrawn tendencies.
Sure.
But we're very more... we very much so present ourselves outwardly a lot, to, at least to our friend groups and everything.
Yeah.
So it's like I agree with not relating to him, again, as a millionaire, but also in at least the Steve McQueen version in regards to his personality, because he's not very... He's quietly stoic and charming. Right. He's not playboy stoic or charming.
Nobody knows anything about him. That's because of the way that he interacts with people. And
exactly.
That is kind of hard for me too.
Yeah, it definitely puts him on the outside for us as a viewer, and also I don't really relate to Faye Dunaway's character either because she's very, very similar to Thomas Crowne.
Yes, she's very driven.
Yeah, she's driven and she's kind of cool to her relationships around her. Like she still has. Yeah, she still has a good camaraderie with the detectives she's working with.
Right.
But at the same time, she's not letting them an inch within her personal life. Like she's definitely holding them away.
Like you said, Vicky and Thomas are both very similar in the way that they're both very intelligent. So I feel like what they're trying to express is that she doesn't connect with the people around her because she's so much smarter than them. And I kind of get that. I feel like, I never necessarily feel like I'm the smartest guy in the room, but I do at least feel like I'm smarter than a quarter of them.
So humble. Oh my goodness, I love it. I used to honestly be like that, and then I got to college and I was like, man, I'm fucking dumb. And so then I spent most of college just being like, whenever I would say something, be like, why did I say that? That was wrong. And I know it was wrong. And so as I've gotten older, it's been more just like, no, you're probably dumber than most people in this room. So you should just keep these weird facts in your head.
These facts that you think are real.
And then you must Google later in the quiet of your own home so that you can be like, oh, I was right. Fuck.
So let's talk about the heist in this movie, because I thought the setup for the heist was pretty interesting in the 68 version.
Yeah, it was very intriguing.
Yes. So, and this is one of the more noir elements that you were kind of talking about. So, you don't see his face, but in this apartment room, Tom Crowne, Steve McQueen, sets up a light so that when people walk in, they can't see him. And he hires a whole bunch of people to rob this bank. And he has the plans drawn up and everything.
And that's like scene one. Like, it opens up with him, like, darkly lit silhouette, and then the stumbling kind of portly driver, like, comes in and it's just like, oh, and he works this guy around. This guy's sweating all the time, and then he finally gets this guy to accept the job. Right. And it's very interesting first scene. I liked it.
And he says, he tells the guy, man, Jesus, what am I, Dirty Dan? So, so Thomas tells the guy to take this money and go buy a new car and just wait. And when he calls on him, he's got to be there. That's all the guy knows. And he said it might be months too. Like, so we don't even know how long this scene is before the heist, the actual bank robbery.
And was this the one also, was the 68 version where everybody's waiting outside at, like, phone banks waiting for Thomas's go? Is that, I think it was the 68 version where everybody's, like, trying to find an unused payphone so that he can call them.
Right. Man, it's just that concept alone that you can call payphones.
Right.
Yeah, that boggles my mind. But I mean, not anymore, because, America's just about got
right. I was reading, I'm reading Salem's Lot by Stephen King, and he mentions, party telephone lines, which, I knew about, but I think by the time I was born, my human version of me was born. Gotcha. I think by that time, yes. No, the human version of me, which is 1990s.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that was, by that time, party lines weren't really a fucking thing anymore, at least not where I lived. And so, it's just the telephone system in general, just from 68 to it's crazy to think about how quickly it's adapted.
Definitely. It's not even the same system anymore.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
It doesn't work like a telephone.
Now it just shoots it all the way up to the fucking satellites. It's wicked. But in the 68 Thomas Crowne Affair, once everybody knows what date the robbery is going down, once he has contacted them and told them, they're all waiting out at, like, different telephone banks to get his, like, go ahead. And once they get it, they all go to the bank, and they're all dressed, in that one, how are they dressed? They're all in business suits, right? And bowler hats?
Yes, they all wear boiler hats and sunglasses. And
sunglasses, that's right,
yeah. In business attire.
Yeah, and they all go into the bank, and it's just like a very quick and easy, 1960s bank holdup. They'll transfer in money, and they just, catch the guy off guard with a gun, and all of them walk out quietly with, there's no loud, like, stick them up, throw it all in the bag. Right. None of that. It's a nice, quick and easy holdup. I like that. That was really...
Yeah, it was smooth.
And then the music was nice too. I didn't write down who did the music, but
I did enjoy the music of this movie.
It was really well done. I do know that it does have this movie has a original song called "The Windmills of Your Mind," by Michael Legrand von Oscar.
It says that Michael Legrand did the music here.
Okay.
So that sounds right to me.
And I don't know what the extra parts that I wrote. I can't read my handwriting, honestly. Oh, won an Oscar. That's what it says.
Oh.
I could read my own handwriting. I write like a child still. But that's a fun song. I do enjoy that song.
Can I be honest now that we're towards the end here? I really kind of was bored by this movie. Like, at first, it started off pretty good with the heist and everything.
Yeah.
Between him and Vicky getting together more often and their initial meeting, he keeps on meeting up with this one girl, and she has no real purpose for the plot. But they go out and do these stunty things, which would be fun to watch, but it seems like they forgot to shoot it or forgot to leave it in the movie. Because there's definitely this one time when he's got this glide plane hooked up to the back of the car, and she's like, "Why do you have to do these dangerous things?" And he's like, I don't know what the fuck he says. It's something along the lines like to do them, what the fuck ever.
Yeah, he's like, I got nothing else. Yeah, I'm rich. Yeah. I'm bored.
And so they set up this glide plane to fly, and then they don't show it flying. And I feel like
they do both films show it flying.
Well, how did I miss it?
I don't know. Yeah, it's a very long scene in the McQueen one where it's just him flying around. And it's just a glideless plane that's going around. Yeah, both films have it.
Maybe I fell asleep because it was
probably
at that point.
Yeah, the Brosnan one has it more.
There's dialogue during it.
Yeah, and it's a nice scene between him and Rene Russo, between Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo. It's more incorporated in it, but yeah, the other one is just I think it's actually at the beginning. Actually, if I'm remembering correctly, I think they showed the glide plane in the very beginning when they're playing the "Windmills of Your Mind" song. That's it.
It's
right. Not. Yeah, it's not shown actually in the movie.
Scene in the middle of the movie.
Right. Yeah. That's why. Yeah. I don't think it happens in that scene because you're right, and it's just in the "Windmills of Your Mind" intro. So weird.
Maybe that was an editing decision. Maybe we're gonna put that B-roll in the middle of the film.
There's a lot of editing decisions that they're questionable, but I think they're okay. There's one where it's like they'll cut up the scene. They'll divide the screen in multiple segments. And each one's basically showing the exact same scene, but all of them are fuzzy except for one where the main subject is.
Yeah, I thought the sectioning of the screen part was pretty neat, but
it worked for the heist.
Weird. Yeah, it definitely worked for the heist.
But when it got to the romance stuff, and there's one where they're just playing polo, and they cut up the whole scene and into different segments, and the only one that's in focus is Thomas Crowne playing polo. And I don't know, it's it worked for the heist, but I think as they kept doing it, I was like, you could have stopped after a while. It no longer works for these.
Yeah, but I kind of liked it for the polo scene. I think that was actually something I liked about this film, because at the very least it was different. And, a lot of people were doing weird stuff like that in the 60s.
Right.
That might just be because, the men riding the horses was kind of cool. I don't know if cool is really nice the term I'm looking for. Yeah, it was nice to look at, okay?
It wasn't boring.
It wasn't boring. That's right.
Yeah, I can agree. I agree with you when you said it was boring, because I didn't agree with you when you said it, but I am agreeing with you now, because that's how I wrote down in my notes that it started to stumble around the second act. When it became a romance is when I kind of started getting bored with it, because I didn't believe the romance. It's kind of just a lot of long scenes where it's just she's investigating me. This is interesting. I like what's happening. And, she's on the other hand, where she's like, I fucking know he did this. Why did he do this? He doesn't need money. It's it's interesting, but at the same time, not captivating. And I definitely started to zone out around the second act, but I still liked it enough. It was, I guess to like close on it, if that's fine with you.
Yeah, I think it's a good closing statement spot.
Yeah, I give it 2.5 stars. It's still enjoyable, but I was not like, this is a 1960s romance I'm coming back to. No, I got plenty of other romances that I could watch over this one. But I still like the chemistry. I think that was the big thing for me. The chemistry between Steve McQueen and Faye Dunaway was nice. I thought that was really good. But that was the only, like, that and the heist. I like the heist.
Yeah, the heist was pretty cool. I just kind of wish there was more of that. Which there kind of is, but it's more like, I don't know if cloak and dagger is the right term for it, but, it's kind of like, cat and mouse was better. There's some cat and mouse stuff, but it's more subtle than the heist was, and I feel like it could have used a little bit more of that, which I think I'm going to say up front, kind of accomplish in the other film. I give it a full face. Competent movie. There's things about it I really did like, but yeah, I got bored in it, so that's not good.
It's not good at all, but what was good was the remake.
It's true,
and before we talk the remake, I think we should go grab some soda pops.
Yeah. Soda pop time.
But I think we are back a Rooney Dooney to talk the 1999 film. Did you want to take it away with the differences in the storytelling?
Sure, I will. So, firstly, Pierce Brosnan's Thomas Crowne is an art lover. That honestly immediately made him more relatable to me because I love going to the art museum. I could be there for hours, and I bore the people I'm with.
No, I am 100% with that. I love going to art museums and walking around. That's one of my favorite activities. But like, not only is he like more relatable in that matter, like again, still a millionaire, and this time even more of a millionaire than the last one. Like he's closer to, I think, billionaire status. I can't remember.
Probably.
They made up for inflation by like going way the fuck up in this one. He was crazy rich. He was like almost Batman or James Bond level rich.
Yeah. And instead of using that for crime fighting, he's
doing the exact same shit, yeah.
Yeah, he does shitty shit. But it's not, though. It's really kind of, I don't want to spoil it because I do kind of recommend this movie.
I was going to say, though, that he's not relatable in the fact that he's a millionaire or billionaire. Sure. But he's just his charm, his charisma that he pulls off, that Pierce Brosnan pulls off, is like so much more likable than Steve McQueen's. I love Steve McQueen. Like, I think he did a great job. Right. But Pierce Brosnan is fucking charming. Like, like when he's just sitting there looking at a painting, you're just like, oh, you're so handsome. Like, I want to look at this painting with you. And like, he just has this natural sway that makes his Thomas Crowne more likable than Steve McQueen's.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree. In playing opposite of him, the Catherine Bannon of this remake, I was trying to like really pump it up, and now I'm just rambling. So Rena Russo's in this movie, and she is once again an insurance investigator, and she just wants the painting. That's what she keeps on saying anyways.
She gets 5% of the painting's value back if it's returned. And the painting in this one is worth $100 million or something like that. Yeah. So it's like she would get 5% of that.
And it's a little tiny Monet.
Just a tiny, tiny Monet.
But he's just there for his haystacks.
That's the thing that I loved, is how they incorporated that into the story. Because he goes there every single day. He makes that his modus operandi kind of thing. He's always, well, I don't know if that's the right word. But he makes that his daily routine. He goes there, he looks at this haystack painting. I can't remember who it's by.
He eats a croissant. It's a Van Gogh.
Oh, okay. Nice. And he's just looking at that. And, the guards at the museum are just like, I don't know why you always come to look at this one when that Monet right there is worth 10 times more than that painting. He's like, I don't just like my haystacks.
He's American too. No, he's not.
Yeah. And it's all set at the Met. That's a fun. I've never been able to go to New York, and I've never seen the Met, but someday I would fucking love to. It's got, the biggest, I think it's like the biggest art gallery. It's one of them, if not. But it's fucking beautiful. And just watching this whole heist get pulled off. And what?
I just pulled up a picture to look at the front of the building. Those columns and
it's beautiful.
Staircase.
Yeah. But watching the heist get pulled off, where he hires, they're not Russian. I think they said they were Romanian, or like they didn't know where they were from actually, but like they believed it was Russia at first. But he like hires these like heist people to come in and try to rob like an entire wing. And in the chaos of everything going on, he sneaks in and steals the Monet. And that's the exciting, like that heist. John McTiernan, if I haven't mentioned it, I think I did at the very beginning, but like he's the Die Hard guy. He directed Die Hard. He pulls off great action scenes. And that heist was very entertaining to watch.
I thought
the original
so
was really good too.
Yeah, I think that was one of the best parts of that movie. But this first action scene, that's all I'll say, is not my favorite of the film. I think it's good. I think watching how Thomas Crowne fits into it is cool too, because he's there on the scene. In the other movie, he just put these guys together and told them what to do. And he didn't. He didn't go. And
like in this one, it's very well paced. It's very well utilized. How you realize early on that the heist men, the people who are doing the robbery, they don't recognize or know Thomas Crowne. Like he meets them mid heist, and they're just like, "Get the fuck out of here!" It's like we're cleaning. Well, they don't say "get the fuck out," but they're like, "We're cleaning the wing. You got to move along, please." They just usher him out like he's just another member. That's always a big part of both of these films, is that the people who are pulling off the heist, they don't know that Thomas Crowne is the one who hired them to do it.
Right.
But this movie pulls that off really well because of the fact that Thomas Crowne is there in the heist and that they meet mid-heist. It's really fascinating plan that he has in this one.
Yes.
It was a good plan in the last one, but this one is like there's more layers to this plan.
Right. Like he intentionally involves himself in a way that would implicate his innocence.
Yeah. Yeah. It's well thought out. It's like a national treasure kind of thing. There's so many layers. It's a puzzle.
So we didn't name the guy who plays at least the counterpart to Michael McCann. The detective character is Paul Burke in the first movie, and we got Dennis Leary playing Michael McMahon in this one,
Captain Stacy.
But beyond that, there's another character thrown into this story that didn't exist in the other story, and that's Thomas's psychiatrist, played by Faye Dunaway.
Yay! Yeah, that was a nice call out. Yeah, I really liked.
That. She was like at the very beginning of the movie. Really, that's kind of where it starts.
Yeah, and and like the moments that they cut back are like nice and like collective, and they connect everything really well. Where it's just like, all right, that just happened. And now it's just like, and how did she change her life? I don't know, like specific stuff that happens in those scenes, but like, that's how they move it along into a romance pretty well. I mean, not a romance between Pierce and Faye, but Pierce and Renee, because
she points out his emotions and stuff, and he's so like walled off. Apparently, he's definitely less so than Steve McQueen's version, but she points out what's actually going on with Thomas. And it does give away, like, the things that he says. He never answers anything straight. Neither Thomas Crowne do. He never says anything that would actually incriminate him. He's very smart that way. Even when he's talking to a psychiatrist. However, like, we're still getting new information about how he feels about Catherine. So I think that it was actually a really good add to the movie.
It really was. And there's another character also who I can't remember. I think it's Anna. It's the blonde the younger blonde lady that's walking around with him, that's seen caught with him many times. And that's
Anna Knudsen. Esther Canadas.
Esther Canadas?
It's the Inya, so Canadas. Canadas.
I liked the addition of her character because, as you were saying, while we get the development of, Pierce Brosnan, his feelings for Rene Russo's character, at the same time it's called into question whether or not those feelings are real or whether he is playing her with this Anna character, because it's like you see her and it's like, oh, does he really like Renee, or is he actually
right? So I appreciate it for it complicating the relationship that Catherine and Thomas have, but it does a couple of things that I don't like too. One, Catherine is then has to play the jealous woman, which is,
right,
an archetype pretty much that I don't know. It doesn't even happen anymore. Whatever. And then two, Anna has no speaking lines that I remember.
Yeah, I didn't like that. No, she stares steelily at the camera a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, which I didn't like that either.
Just there to look pretty
and mean,
and as a plot device.
Yeah, and to argue with the jealous woman thing, I think they pull it off because while she does play that archetype, at the same time, her character is in itself a very powerful and strong female character. She does not take shit from a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I think just like that jealousy angle, even though it is an archetype, yeah, I think from the perspective of this film, I feel like they pull it off pretty well, where it does feel like even though she feels wronged, she's also she would have probably still chosen the job over him,
right?
Regardless.
Right. Yeah, I do agree that it does interesting things to Catherine's character. I think that they play a lot more with how they're really feeling in this movie than they did in the previous movie. Or at the very least, they did it better in this movie.
Yeah, way better. I agree with that.
Is there anything else you want to talk about this movie, or are we ready for closing statements?
I think we should also talk the finale. Maybe have to put up a spoiler wall, but if we can avoid specific spoilers, I would appreciate that. But if we do spoil it, I will throw a wall just to protect those precious ears of yours, couch potatoes. But the finale, it's in both films, the Thomas Crowne plans a second heist, and it's kind of just I think in the first one, it's kind of just to see if he can do it again. I don't think he really had a specific reason to do it. And the 1999 one, the Pierce Brosnan version, it's to put the painting back. But basically, the heist just becomes, how he ends up putting the painting back, if he does put the painting back. Yeah. And it is so enjoyable. It is a really great scene.
It's kind of a magician's reveal, though. It might, for some people, might feel a touch corny, but yeah, I thought it kind of gave oh, nice, I like that twist to it. I liked it.
Yeah.
But
that's the kind of shit I eat up. I love the big reveals. I think the big reveal of it all, and then the sentimental notes that are placed in there regarding paintings, I will say, is very, very enjoyable. I love that whole aspect of it. And, I really enjoyed this finale, way more than the last one. It felt more... Yeah. It felt better for a romance, especially, I will say.
I mean, it also didn't cut off abruptly like the first film did. I mean, it felt more resolved. That final scene. But I don't take off points for the abrupt ending on the other film, though, because
right.
I think sometimes that's interesting when that happens. In passing, we talked about that just recently. That was, I feel like that ending was way more justified than the original Thomas Crowne movie. However, in this movie, I like resolution, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that I like this movie overall more than the first one. I think that it's gonna probably shake out that way with movies from the 60s, unless they're like just so spectacular that there's no reason to remake it and, they fuck it up, which that's possible.
It's a very interesting idea to go back on. I would love to do another old versus new.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of opportunities there. I mean, Psycho. Psycho. Yeah. That'd be an interesting one. But, for my closing statement, total agreement with you. I would choose the new versus the old. I think that the Pierce Brosnan version I love Steve McQueen, but Pierce Brosnan is just way better in this charming role. Again, he's still a rich man that like I would look at and be like, I hate him. How dare he be able to just fly planes in the day? I want to do that fucker. But at the same time, he's very just charming and charismatic. The heists he plans and pulls off are very, very fascinating to watch. I loved his relationship with Rene Russo more in this one. It felt a little more real because they really felt more like two personalities at odds, but at the same time at odds so perfectly that they meshed well together. It was just an enjoyable film. I think there was one thing I wanted to mention that I'm forgetting.
Well, while you find that, I just wanted to say I put a face on this. I didn't get that in my closing statement, but there, I put the stamp on it. It's done.
My apologies. I thought you had.
No, it's good.
But I would give it 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. And the one thing I remembered is that it reminded me of a novel I just read last year called The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, which I don't know if she had this movie in mind when she was writing her book. Very, very loose similarities. They're not like the exact same. But that one is about a young boy who is at an art museum that gets terrorized. It gets a bomb explosion.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he loses his mom in the explosion. And in the chaos of everything, and in his own personal confusion, he steals a painting. And, he runs home because, like, he thought his mom would have wanted him to protect it. So he runs and brings it home. And then later on sees that a couple of EMTs who had arrived on scene and also stolen the painting have just been arrested and had huge consequences for stealing paintings. So it scares him to the point of later in his adult life, he is hiding the fact that he is still holding on to this stolen painting.
God.
It's a fascinating book. I really enjoyed it, but I just wanted to give that kind of a shout out. It's a very older book. It's like 2004, I think.
Yeah, very older. Out of all the books, very older.
I mean, I just mean like I say I want to give it a shout out, but like it's 17, 18 years old, so a lot of people already know about it.
Sure.
It had a movie be made on it just a couple years ago that I have not watched, but it had Finn Wolfhard in it. But yeah, as I was watching the Pierce Brosnan one, which is more about art and stealing art, I was just more fascinated just because I'd read that book recently, and I was like, ooh, I kind of know some stuff about this. This is very fascinating to me.
And I enjoy art, so I know just enough to really embarrass myself if I ever try to join those circles.
Just like to hear the name Monet and be like, oh, that sounds rich. I know Monet. That's a good one to steal. But no, this has been fun. I really enjoyed this segment of old versus new. It's very similar to Sequel Smash.
I do hope we do this more often. I can't say that these were my favorite movies. It seemed like you really enjoyed the remake, which that's great. I do think it definitely was better.
I think it really just surprised me because I'm not a huge Pierce Brosnan fan.
Yeah.
Mainly because like his James Bond films, like I remember watching those as a kid and being like, I remember watching it as a kid and being like, man, these are just stupid. And like I liked him as James Bond, but like I didn't like his womanizing, I guess. Like he's very much I don't know. I've only seen like his James Bond movies once, so when we get there in that playlist way down the line, it'll be very fascinating.
Yeah, whenever we try to pick that up again.
Right. But I've just never been like a huge Pierce Brosnan fan. And I think this movie just surprised me because it's just like I fell in love with him in like 5 minutes where I was just like, wow, he is a very good charismatic role for a romance film lead. Like that was really nice. So I think that's why I liked it more. It was just because of
Doubtfire too.
Yeah, I forgot he was in that. Wow.
Like, you kind of want to hate him a little bit along with Robin Williams, but he's still very nice to Miss Felix.
Right.
So
I haven't watched that in a very, very long time, well over a decade.
Secret review of Mrs. Doubtfire. I think that's our show.
Yes, yeah, sure it is. I have been the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leon. Thank you so much for listening. Check out our Patreon page. Thank you, patrons. It's patreon.com/Green and Faceless. Safe travels and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of Fiction Works 19. If you like the show, please show your support by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Like, follow, subscribe, wherever you might listen. We also now have a Patreon account. If you feel so inclined to support us in a financial manner, please become a patron by visiting patreon.com/Green and Faceless. You can also find more information about us on our Facebook account or on the Fiction Works 19 Instagram account. Thank you so much for listening.